deeper perspective on the budget and its impact on the states. But before starting the session, I request our Honorable Chancellor Sir to address the gathering with a few words. Sir, please.
Thank you, Mr. Bose, for having accepted our invitation and to agree to address students of Mandsaur University for budget on its academic perspective. I am very fortunate that I had the opportunity of working with some very senior and outstanding bureaucrats, and Mr. Bose is one of them. His experience of state and the government of India would help us and help our students to understand the different dimensions of management and finance. I welcome you, Mr. Bose, and I hope you'll keep on accepting our invitations and continue to address our students. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. So, understanding the union budget requires not only theoretical knowledge but also practical wisdom drawn from years of governance. Today, we are honored to learn from a leader who has been at the forefront of India's financial decision-making process. With great respect, I would like to introduce our esteemed guest and speaker, Shri Sumit Bose sir. Shri Sumit Bose sir is a distinguished retired IAS officer with an illustrious career in public administration and public finance. He holds a master degree in social policy and planning from London School of Economics and a master of arts degree from St. Stephen College, University of Delhi, reflecting a strong academic foundation in economic policy and governance. He joined the Indian Administrative Service in 1976 and served with distinction in various senior positions in the government of Madhya Pradesh as well as the government of India. He retired as the Union Finance Secretary, Government of India, one of the highest positions in the country's financial administration. During his tenure in the Ministry of Finance, Sir served as Secretary Department of Revenue, Secretary Department of Expenditure, Secretary Department of Business. He also served as Secretary to the 13th Finance Commission as the Finance Secretary, Government of Madhya Pradesh, playing a key role in fiscal policy formulation and center-state financial relations. After retirement, Sir has continued to contribute extensively to public policy and corporate government. He has chaired several committees of the central government and has served as independent director on the boards of leading institutions such as Bombay Stock Exchange, HDFC Pension Management Company Limited, HDFC Life Insurance Company Limited, Tata AIG General Insurance Company Limited, JN Financial Limited, JB Chemicals and Pharmaceutical Limited. In addition, he is actively associated with several non-profit organizations, including WIDI, Center for Legal Policy, Water Aid India, Parivar, and the Foundation to Educate Girls Globally, reflecting his commitment to social development policy advice. I now request our esteemed speaker to deliver the keynote address.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon. I wish I could have been there with all of you. But of course, this is a more convenient mode, not always possible to travel. And we shall do the best with this mode as possible. Nataji, Chancellor, Dr. Rajiv Thakur, VC, Dr. Das, Dr. Sadanand, Deans, other members of the faculty, heads of department, and students. It is a great pleasure to be amongst all of you, even though on this virtual mode, and to be able to participate in this analysis of the budget along with all of you. Before I start, I must narrate a small incident about the Chancellor, Mr. Nahata, who was my Honorable Minister in the Medical Education Department. These days, we often talk about lack of trust between ministers and civil servants, between politicians and civil servants. We go back to a time, this is the mid-90s, all the medical colleges were carved out into separate entities, separate societies, and we were to recruit doctors. That means assistant professors and professors for the medical colleges. We set up a team, a committee, and we got experts from All India Institute, Delhi, the Postgraduate Institute, the well-known Postgraduate Institute of Chandigarh, and other such places, very eminent people. With that committee, we did we were to do the recruitment. So I discussed with Nataji what we could do. He said, at the end of, as soon as you complete an interview, please put up the selection and I will sign the file later. So there's absolutely no question of any pressure coming on any of us. So, and that was a round of, over 3 days, we recruited doctors where after every session, one put up the list of successful candidates and the wait list. Immediately after, the interviews were over and even before we got out of the room. I think that was an immense example of trust, a trust which is so needed in our society today. And I'm beholden to Nataji for that trust displayed at that point of time. What is the budget? Budget का कोई उल्लेख इनफैक्ट संविधान में है नहीं. बजट संविधान जो आर्टिकल 112 में है वो एक एनुअल फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट के बारे में लिखा हुआ है. उसमें इसमें आय व्यय का एस्टिमेट दिया जाएगा और इस विवरणी में, और इसी को पॉपुलरली बजट कहला जाता है. एक अगर हम समझते दिस वुड बी सच अ कलरलेस डॉक्यूमेंट, जस्ट द फाइनेंशियल, बट in fact, the budget has become very colorful because it is not only the lekha jokha, but it is a time when the policy of the government regarding the economic development of the country is laid out. And that's why it is sort of eagerly awaited every year, commented upon so widely, and analyzed in every possible manner. The reason I have chosen to talk about the budget in the context of the states is because the budget has a profound effect on the state governments. It may have an effect all around the economy, certainly on the stock exchanges, much commented upon. इस बार हमने देखा कि वो उस दिन स्टॉक प्राइसेस गिरे बजट के दिन, तो लोग ने कहा कि ये एसटीटी एक टैक्स है ऑन ऑप्शंस एंड फ्यूचर्स, उसके कारण ये हो रहा है. लेकिन प्रभाव इसका जो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स पे है और स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के बजट पे है, हम उस दृष्टिकोण से आज बजट की समीक्षा करना चाहते हैं. इसका दूसरा कारण ये है कि 16 फाइनेंस कमीशन, वित्त आयोग का रिपोर्ट भी इस बजट के साथ पार्लियामेंट में प्रस्तुत किया गया है. और जैसे हम जानते हैं, ये वित्त आयोग रिसोर्सेज जो टैक्सेस है केंद्र और राज्यों के बीच और विभिन्न राज्यों के बीच, मतलब वर्टिकल और हॉरिजॉन्टल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन के बारे में रिपोर्ट देते हैं, और इसलिए वो बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है स्टेट्स के लिए. हर 5 साल वित्त आयोग का गठन किया जाता है और उनका रिकमेंडेशंस 5 साल के लिए लागू रहता है. बजट के पहले एक आर्थिक समीक्षा, ये इकोनॉमिक सर्वे प्रस्तुत किया जाता है, और इस बार 29 जनवरी को ये प्रस्तुत किया गया है. इस इकोनॉमिक सर्वे से, इस बार के इकोनॉमिक सर्वे ने ये बताया कि हमारी अर्थव्यवस्था सुदृढ़ है और इस ग्लोबल अनसर्टेनिटी के बीच में भी हमारे आर्थिक ग्रोथ या 7.4% पर एस्टिमेट किया गया था इस इकोनॉमिक सर्वे में 25-26 के लिए, और आगे 26-27 के लिए भी इसका प्रोजेक्शन 6.8 से 7.2% किया गया. इसका मतलब बाकी दुनिया की तुलना में हमारे ग्रोथ रेट्स अच्छे हैं और इससे ज्यादा हमें ग्रोथ की इससे ज्यादा भी आवश्यकता है, क्योंकि 7.5% के ग्रोथ में हमारे जो अपेक्षाएं हैं, जो एस्पिरेशंस हैं, वो हम फुलफिल नहीं कर पाएंगे। लेकिन अगर हम दुनिया की इस ग्लोबल अनसर्टनिटी के बीच में देखें तो ये एक अच्छी ग्रोथ रेट है। हमारे इन्फ्लेशन रेट लो है, हेडलाइन रेट 1.7% है। आरबीआई ने कहा है कि अगले साल, अगले वित्तीय वर्ष के हाफ ईयर में वो 4% से अधिक नहीं होगा। हमारे फॉरेन एक्सचेंज रिजर्व अच्छे हैं, 700 बिलियन डॉलर्स के ऊपर है। हमारे रेमिटेंसेस, जो बाहर से लोग पैसे भेजते हैं, बिजनेस हो, इंडिविजुअल्स हो, देश को भेजते हैं बाहर से, वो अन्य देश के तुलना में बहुत अधिक है, और ये करीब 130-35 बिलियन डॉलर की डॉलर है। और एक और बात जो वित्तीय समीक्षा में सामने आई है, वो है कि हमारे सर्विसेज क्षेत्र या सर्विसेज सेक्टर का जो शेयर ऑफ जी है वो करीब 53-54% है, और हम दुनिया के 7th लार्जेस्ट एक्सपोर्टर है ऑफ सर्विसेज। तो इस बैकग्राउंड को देखते हुए माननीय वित्त मंत्री जी ने 1 तारीख को बजट पेश किया। इस बजट को बहुत लोगों ने कहा ये बहुत बोरिंग बजट है, इसमें ऐसा कुछ नहीं है जो एकदम सामने आए कि कोई पॉलिसी, बिग बैंग पॉलिसी अनाउंसमेंट्स है, या ऐसा कुछ अनाउंसमेंट्स जिससे बहुत रेवोल्यूशनरी कहा जा सकता है। लेकिन हमें याद रखना पड़ेगा कि ये वित्त मंत्री जी के 9th बजट है। मतलब ये गवर्नमेंट के जो पॉलिसी मेजर्स हैं वो तो काफी सालों से चल रहे हैं, और ये कंटिन्यूटी का बजट है। तो इसमें अगर हम ये एक्सपेक्ट करें कि हर बजट में नए नए चीज होंगे, वो शायद ठीक नहीं है। ये बजट जो हमें हमारे सामने रखता है ये है कि जो मैक्रो इकोनॉमिक स्टेबिलिटी चाहिए वो सामने उभर के आते हैं। पिछले साल वित्त मंत्री जी ने कहा था कि जो पब्लिक डेट टू जीडीपी रेशियो है, इसके अनुसार ये 30-31 तक अराउंड 50% होगा, ±50%। और हम पहले जो हमारे फिस्कल आर्किटेक्चर में हम एक्सेप्ट करते थे कि फिस्कल डेफिसिट और रेवेन्यू डेफिसिट, फिस्कल डेफिसिट 3% और रेवेन्यू डेफिसिट निल, ये हमारे गोल्स हैं। 1918 में एनके सिंह कमेटी गठित हुई, उसमें मैं भी था एक मेंबर, और तब ये जो पाथ है फिस्कल डेफिसिट से, इसको रिप्लेस किया गया विद पब्लिक डेट टू जीडीपी रेशियो। इस नंबर को हम देखेंगे, ये हमारा एंकर होगा, फिस्कल स्टेबिलिटी का एंकर होगा, जो कि इंटरनेशनल बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस के अनुसार था। इसी डेट डायनेमिक्स के अनुसार वित्त मंत्री जी ने कहा कि हमारे जो डेट टू जीडीपी रेशियो, वो जो 56.1% था, वो घट के अब 0.5%, वो 50 बेसिस पॉइंट्स वो कम हुआ है। लेकिन उन्होंने फिर से कहा कि 30-31 तक ये ±50% हम करेंगे। फिस्कल डेफिसिट 25-26 में फिस्कल डेफिसिट 4.4% और इस साल 4.3% इसका टारगेट रखा गया है। और इसके लिए ये अवश्य है कि 25-26 में काफी बजट कट किया गया है। दोनों रेवेन्यू बजट और कैपिटल बजट में ये बजट कट्स हुए हैं, जिसके फलस्वरूप कई जो स्कीम है, जो CSS और सेंट्रली स्पॉन्सर्ड स्कीम्स हैं, उसमें कटौती की गई। उसमें मनरेगा से लेके रूरल हाउसिंग और सबसे ज्यादा जल जीवन मिशन की जो स्कीम है उसमें कटौती की गई। इस साल फिर से कैपेक्स पे और कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर पे जोर दिया गया है। कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर रेज किया गया है 11%, 11.5% से। डिफेंस कैपेक्स बजट 18% हायर। स्पेंडिंग ऑन हाईवेज, नेशनल हाईवेज, रोड्स करीब 10% हायर। रूरल एक्सपेंडिचर की काफी बढ़ा दिया गया है, लेकिन इसके लिए हमें देखना, इसका कब अगर केवल आंकड़े देखें तो लगता है बहुत बढ़ गया है, लेकिन जैसे मैंने कहा बहुत कटौती भी किया गया था लास्ट टाइम, उसके अनुपात में बहुत बढ़ा 40% करीब। लेकिन जो भी है, अब इस क्योंकि इसका मतलब है कि सेंट्रली स्पॉन्सर्ड स्कीम्स में एक्सपेंशन हुआ है, चाहे वो जल जीवन मिशन हो, रूरल हाउसिंग हो, समग्र शिक्षा हो, या मनरेगा, या अभी उसको वीवीजी राम जी जो कहलाया जाएगा, उसमें जो विस्तार किया गया है उसका फायदा सीधे स्टेट्स में होना चाहिए। स्टेट्स के और इसके साथ कई और स्कीम्स हुए हैं, छोटे बड़े स्कीम्स अनाउंस किए गए हैं, लेकिन अगर फिस्कल प्रूडेंस के पाथ में, जैसे वित्त मंत्री जी ने प्रेफर किया है, बहुत बिग बैंग, बहुत सारे पैसे तो है नहीं फिर जो गवर्नमेंट खर्च कर सकते हैं विभिन्न स्कीमों में, इसलिए नए स्कीम्स के अनाउंसमेंट शायद जिस अनुपात में पहले हुआ है वो नहीं है। इसलिए किसी ने कहा है जो नॉर्मली बजट के फुटनोट में होता, ऐसे स्कीम भी बजट के हाई नोट माना जाता है। एक कमेंटेटर ने ऐसा कहा है, फुटनोट्स, स्कीम्स व्हिच आर और announcements which would have been in the footnotes have now become the high notes of the budget. On the whole, if we see, there are a lot of schemes announced for, including important ones for SMEs. 10,000 crores have been set aside for SMEs. There's the concept of champion SMEs. Then roads and highways I've already mentioned. There is announcement of the rare earths corridors, especially in 4 states, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, the states which have them, Andhra, they should benefit from that. There are a whole lot of institutions to come up, especially in the field of education, the Ayurveda institution, labs in schools and colleges. So these announcements are certainly there, and they should all again impact the states positively. Now let me turn to the Finance Commission. 16 Finance Commission का जो रिपोर्ट है वो अलग से नहीं, वो बजट के माध्यम से ही पेश किया गया है। ये परंपरा है कि वित्तीय आयोग जिस साल में अपना रिपोर्ट देते हैं वो उस अगले साल उसके इमीडिएटली नेक्स्ट जब बजट पेश होता है उसके साथ उसको पेश किया जाता है, क्योंकि उसमें 5 साल के बारे में कैसे रिसोर्स शेयरिंग होगा वो दिया जाता है। तो स्टेट्स बहुत उत्सुकता से ये फाइनेंस कमीशन की ओर देखते हैं कि क्या उसमें क्या बदलाव हो, या उनका जो स्टेट शेयर है उसमें क्या बदलाव किया जाता है। तो इस साल जो फाइनेंस कमीशन है वो 2 टाइप के, उनका जो रेमिट है वो है कि फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल द वर्टिकल डिवीजन ऑफ रिसोर्सेज बिटवीन द सेंटर एंड द स्टेट्स, मतलब स्टेट्स एज अ होल, दैट दे हैव मेंटेन्ड एज द व्हाट इट वाज, व्हिच वाज 41% as recommended by the 15th Finance Commission. Last and initially 42% by the 14th Finance Commission. That has been maintained. But in the horizontal distribution, that means हर एक स्टेट को कितना मिलेगा वो स्टेट की किटी से, there have been some changes. इसमें हर साल there are losers and winners. जो अभी तक the idea has been to make this equitable. इस ताकि हर स्टेट अपने, क्योंकि हर स्टेट के रिसोर्सेज तो बराबर नहीं है, लेकिन हर स्टेट में पब्लिक सर्विस उसी कंपेरेबल पब्लिक सर्विस देना चाहिए, इसी अनुमान से ये डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन किया जाता है। तो रिलेटिवली जो डेवलप्ड स्टेट्स हैं, स्पेशली states in the southern India, they have had a grievance, Western India, Southern India, that more resources are going to the northern and eastern regions of the country as compared to what they are getting, despite their contribution to the growth of India in the GDP being higher. The 16th Finance Commission had to grapple with this. In addition, because in the last Finance Commission, for the first time, 2011 सेंसस का पॉपुलेशन लिया गया था, तब तक 1971 का पॉपुलेशन के आधार पर ही ये डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन होता था। ये इंपॉर्टेंट क्यों है पॉपुलेशन? बिकॉज दिस इज ऑल्सो the 1971 is the population on which the distribution of parliament seats has been fixed and has been given. पढ़ते होंगे अखबार में that this is now coming up for revision and what will be done. But this is the background. Because of this background, things are heated up politically. That will we lose out? The southern states say because we have better population control, our population has not gone. Will we lose out in seats? So that has also had a shadow on the Finance Commission. But so in the criteria, what they have done, they have changed, they have introduced a new factor which they call, which is the contribution to GDP. हर एक स्टेट का हमारे जो घरेलू उत्पाद है, सकल घरेलू उत्पाद है, उसमें क्या योगदान है, और उसके अनुसार 10% अंक इन द डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन रखा गया है। और थोड़ा बहुत और डिफरेंसेस है। पॉपुलेशन या जनसंख्या के आधार पर 15 फाइनेंस कमीशन उसका 15 अंक रखा था, इसमें 16 में 17.5 किया गया है। एरिया में घटा के 15 से 10, वन या फॉरेस्ट एंड इकोलॉजी में वही रखा है 10। पर कैपिटा जीएसडीपी डिस्टेंस ये है कि पर कैपिटा इनकम, एक जो 3 सबसे अग्रणी स्टेट है वहां का जो पर कैपिटा जीएसडीपी है उसको एवरेज रख के क्या डिस्टेंस है, मतलब जो रिलेटिवली बैकवर्ड स्टेट है उसका जीएसडीपी कितना है, उस अंतर को माप के उसके अनुसार भी 42.5% वेटेज दिया जाता है, और एक डेमोग्राफिक परफॉर्मेंस के लिए 10%। तो कुल मिला के कुछ परिवर्तन किया गया है, और इसके फलस्वरूप जो अवार्ड हुआ है, कुछ स्टेट्स विनर्स है, कुछ स्टेट्स लूजर्स है। क्या हुआ है इसके फलस्वरूप? मध्य प्रदेश जैसा स्टेट को इज अ लूजर। मध्य प्रदेश के जो स्टेट शेयर है वो मैं पढ़ के सुना भी सकता हूँ, सब जगह लिखा, लेकिन मोटे मोटे ये मान लीजिए कुछ स्टेट्स, मध्य प्रदेश, उत्तर प्रदेश, have been losers. Some states, Karnataka, Kerala, have been winners. Tamil Nadu, Andhra, Telangana, marginal winners. Not unfortunately, some northeastern states have also been hit. A state like Manipur, state like Tripura has also been hit. Perhaps in this system, it was inevitable. But from my own point of view, I wish this did not happen, especially for the northeastern states, because they are fragile economically, politically, and perhaps we have to find ways of protecting them. In addition, the Finance Commission also recommends grants. This year, till last year, till the last Finance Commission, there used to be a revenue deficit grant. मतलब after taking into account फाइनेंस कमीशन के अवार्ड से भारत सरकार से जो डेवोल्यूशन या टैक्स के प्रोसीड्स प्राप्त होगी, उसके बाद भी अगर किसी स्टेट में रेवेन्यू डेफिसिट रहा करता था, उसको कवर करने के लिए ग्रांट दिया जाता था। 15 वित्त आयोग ने 17 स्टेट को ये ग्रांट दिया था, करीब करीब 2.9 लाख करोड़ का। इस बार ये ग्रांट खत्म कर दिया गया है, ये कह के कि अभी जिस प्रकार डेवल्यूशन होगा उससे ये रेवेन्यू डेफिसिट नहीं आना चाहिए, और सेकेंडली ये रेवेन्यू डेफिसिट इज क्रिएट्स इनएफिशिएंसीज, और इसमें स्टेट्स इंसेंटिवाइज नहीं होते कि वो अपना रिसोर्सेज बढ़ाए और डेफिसिट को फुलफिल करना चाहे। इसलिए इसके अलावा और भी कोई ग्रांट्स इस बार नहीं दिया गया है, लेकिन लोकल बॉडी ग्रांट्स को बढ़ाकर दिया गया है, जो पंचायत को जाते हैं, जो रूरल मतलब पंचायत के तीनों लेवल में जाता है, डिस्ट्रिक्ट पंचायत, ब्लॉक पंचायत और ग्राम पंचायत, और इस प्रकार म्यूनिसिपैलिटीज, म्यूनिसिपल कॉरपोरेशंस को भी जाता है वहां भी, और उसको बढ़ा दिया गया है। और उसमें कुछ बेसिक और परफॉर्मेंस कंपोनेंट्स रहता है उसको। उसके अलावा अर्बन लोकल बॉडीज के लिए, नगरीय निकायों के लिए एक स्पेशल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर ग्रांट 56,000 करोड़ और एक अर्बनाइजेशन प्रीमियम कंपोनेंट ऑफ 10,000 करोड़ भी दिया गया है। दिस अर्बनाइजेशन प्रीमियम कंपोनेंट इज क्वाइट इंटरेस्टिंग। वो क्या है कि अगर किसी एरिया रूरल से अर्बन में जाते हैं, उसके लिए पर हेड 2,000 रुपए का एक ग्रांट दिया गया है टू फैसिलिटेट दिस ट्रांजिशन, क्योंकि ये महसूस किया जाता है, और अक्सर हमने जब मैं सर्विस में था ये पाया कि कई बार रूरल से अर्बन एरिया में आने में कोई पंचायत वो हिचकिचाते थे, क्योंकि उनको ये लगता था कि अगर हम अर्बन एरिया बन जाएंगे तो हम पंचायत क्षेत्र में रहते हुए जो हमारे जो बेनिफिट्स मिलते हैं, कई स्कीमों की बेनिफिट्स मिलते हैं जो रूरल एरियाज को मिलते हैं, वो बंद हो जाएगा। तो शायद इसी को मद्देनजर रखते हुए इस प्रकार के अर्बनाइजेशन प्रीमियम भी दिया गया है। अब क्योंकि मैं कोशिश करूंगा अभी थोड़ी देर में ये खत्म करके आप लोगों से चर्चा करने में, इसलिए मैं इसके बारे में और नहीं करूंगा। लेकिन एक मुद्दे पर मेरे हिसाब से फाइनेंस कमीशन को थोड़ा और एटलीस्ट रिपोर्ट में कुछ कहना चाहिए था, वो नहीं किया है। ये मुद्दा है सेस और सरचार्ज की। जैसे आप जानते हैं, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में केंद्रीय सरकार को सेस, कई चीजों पे सेस और सरचार्ज लगाने का अनुमति दी गई है कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में। जिस प्रकार ये क्रूड ऑयल पे जैसे हमारा सेस है, एक 20% एड वैलोरम सेस है डोमेस्टिक क्रूड ऑयल, इनकम टैक्स पे सरचार्ज है, कॉर्पोरेट इनकम टैक्स पे सरचार्ज है, एक जीएसटी कॉम्पेंसेशन लगाया गया था, जो जीएसटी में चूंकि जब राज्यों ने जीएसटी को अडॉप्ट किया था, उसमें राज्यों को गारंटी किया गया था कि आपका 14% ग्रोथ के हिसाब से आपको जीएसटी मिलेगा। अगर नहीं मिलता है तो हम केंद्रीय शासन वो कॉम्पेंसेशन अमाउंट देगा। वो कॉम्पेंसेशन ये जीएसटी कॉम्पेंसेशन सेस से आता है, और हेल्थ और एजुकेशन सेस और रोड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर सेस, ऐसे कई और सेसेस हैं। लेकिन क्या हुआ है कि 14 फाइनेंस कमीशन जब एकदम स्टेट को जो शेयर्स हैं वो बढ़ा के 42% कर दिया, तब भारत शासन ने लगातार अपना ये सेसेस और सरचार्जेस बढ़ाते गए, और सेसेस और सरचार्जेस स्टेट से शेयर नहीं होता है, इट इज आउटसाइड द शेयरेबल पूल। और 2011 में ये नॉन शेयरेबल पोर्शन जो है ऑफ रेवेन्यूज ऑफ सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, ये जीडीपी का केवल 1% या 1.1% था। ये बढ़कर 23-24 में 2.2% ऑफ जीडीपी हो गया है। ये काफी मतलब इसमें वृद्धि हुई है, और इसका मतलब यह है कि जो रकम वो स्टेट्स को शेयर मिलना चाहिए, वो अब स्टेट्स को शेयर नहीं मिलना है। इसमें दो पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू है। केंद्र शासन का कहना है कि केंद्र शासन के बहुत सारे दायित्व है, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन संविधान ने ये उनको पावर दिया हुआ है सेस और सरचार्ज लगाने का, ये परफेक्टली लीगल है, इसलिए वो लगाए हैं, और ये रकम आफ्टर ऑल नेशन बिल्डिंग एक्टिविटीज में जा रहे हैं। राज्यों का ये कहना है कि ये एक सेसेस और सरचार्जेस केवल कुछ एक्सेप्शनल सर्कमस्टांसेस में लगाना चाहिए, ये अब नॉर्म बन गया है, लेकिन और ये इस प्रकार शेयरेबल पूल से बाहर है, तो स्टेट्स को उसका शेयर मिलना चाहिए। ये दो पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू है। फाइनेंस कमीशन ने मेरा एक्सपेक्टेशन था कम से कम वो ये कहेंगे कि these are cesses are to be used in exceptional circumstances like war or famine or some external event like COVID. Lekin I find that in the report they have talked about transfers on the whole being more than before, but I don't think they have adequately at least put a warning sign that this is not the manner in which cesses and surcharges should be constantly applied as a resource for the central government. This is what I thought I should share this with you. But if you look at the budget, then so there are a whole lot of positive things. They have talked about global about software, those through global centers, the software which is sent exported to other countries, they'll be exempt from taxation, and this is a real long-term exemption has been given up to 2047. They would not be taxed. They would also be able to supply the same software to domestic industry under certain circumstances. I think this is a great thing to help the expansion of this sector in the country. I'll give you one other example of the textile sector. A whole lot of announcements were made in the textile sector, which has been recognized as a strategic pivot of growth, jobs, and exports, and all of them will benefit the states as well. As many as 5 or 6 announcements were made. There was talk of an integrated textile sector development program to create a single coordinated framework, a national fiber scheme to strengthen the domestic fiber availability, reducing import dependence, and thus benefiting the fiber producing states such as those involved in cotton, silk, jute, and wool. Mega textile parks to be set up. This enables states to attract large-scale private investment through various schemes, through this scheme. Then skill and training through Samarth, and textile expansion and employment scheme, and the Tex Eco or recycling scheme by setting up recycling hubs for fiber, fabric, and post-consumer material. This is just to give a flavor कि एक क्षेत्र टेक्सटाइल्स और कपड़ा मंत्रालय का जो क्षेत्र है, उसमें in a budget they have announced almost 360 degrees schemes which cover entire sector in a manner in which will be beneficial for job creation. I think there is what is expected now is proper execution of what has been announced in the budget. The budget also speaks, another important thing they speak of is to set up a high-level committee for the banking industry. Now, the banks, the legislation on banks is pretty scattered. We have an RBI Act. We have separate acts for the SBI and public sector banks. We have NBFCs, which are governed slightly differently. We have cooperative banks. Mandsaur mein bhi hai cooperative bank. Cooperative banks which are governed both by the state and central regulations. So it is a medley. But by 2047, we have, if we have to become absolute Vikasit Bharat by 2047, we need a much stronger banking sector. Looking at this, बैंकिंग क्षेत्र की व्यापक समीक्षा के लिए एक उच्च स्तरीय समिति का गठन का अनाउंसमेंट हुआ है। एक्सपेक्टेशन ये है कि जैसे हाल ही में एक सिक्योरिटीज कोड जिसमें सेबी एक्ट एंड अदर थिंग्स हैव ऑल अंडरगॉन चेंज एंड द सिक्योरिटीज कोड इज नाउ इन पार्लियामेंट टू बी अडॉप्टेड, इस प्रकार के आगे चल के एक नेशनल बैंकिंग कोड हो जो which will be one on encompassing legislation for the entire country. Banking में का उदाहरण मैं इससे दे रहा हूँ because that impacts everyone and the states as well, because unless credit flow is ensured, neither industry nor the states will really can really benefit. Finally, let me come to the issue of, again, back to fiscal discipline and borrowings. The borrowings of the state, of both the central and the state governments, has been going up. It is perhaps natural because there are a whole lot of aspirations of the people and they have to be fulfilled. But as a result, what has happened is borrowing has been announced 11.7 lakh crores of borrowings for the central government. And I think there's some, that leaves about 9 point some lakhs will be for the state governments. But what has happened that you would have seen over the last year, since February 25, the RBI has been reducing the repo policy rate. It was, and it has come down to 5.25. It has come from 6.5 it was. It has come down constantly. So why, even as rates are coming down, the state, both the central and state borrowing, the rates for that, which are known as yields, they are called sovereign bonds, which are the Government of India bonds, and state bonds, which are called the state bonds, are called SLRs. Their yields are still very high. I mean, in fact, over 1 year, the yields have gone up, or as in economic parlance, as they say, they have hardened or gone up. तो इसका मतलब ये होगा कि राज्य शासन को पहले अगर 100 रुपया उधार लेने में उनको 7.5% देना पड़ता था, अब या 7 या 7.5 के बीच कोई देना पड़ता था, अब करीब वो 7.5 से ऊपर हो जाएगा. And there is a spread. That means what the government of India can borrow, उस रेट से स्टेट गवर्नमेंट बोरो करने के लिए थोड़ा सा एक प्रीमियम होता है, क्योंकि स्टेट गवर्नमेंट नेचुरली इज नॉट ए सॉवरेन बॉन्ड फॉर द होल कंट्री, इट्स द स्टेट बॉन्ड. तो वो जो स्प्रेड है नॉर्मली 30-40 बेसिस पॉइंट्स का रहता है, वो बढ़ के बीच में 70-80 हो गया था, 70%, 80 पॉइंट्स. उसको वो अभी भी एलिवेटेड लेवल्स पे है, and that is an outcome because of what has happened. On that note, I will close, but I look forward to discussions and to questions and answers for you. I hope I have not been too technical. If I have, I will certainly during this question answer session, आप जो भी पूछेंगे उसके माध्यम से हम उसको simplify करने की कोशिश करेंगे. But the budget is an event which hits all our lives in some ways or the other. There used to be a time when every year tax concessions, or everyone used to think there will be some concession or other. There is more stability there. There is more stability there, as we have seen. It's not a new income tax act has come into force from the 1st of April. We have GST, which gives more stability to our system. Our resources are not going up in the proportion it should. Our revenue should be going up much more. That is one problem the government is facing. As a result, the size of the government as compared to the size of the GDP has not gone up as much as it should have, and that leads to problems in the government in dealing with inequality to the extent that they need to spend more to ensure that there is more equity and inequalities amongst regions, amongst people. That is closed. Those gaps are closed. I think there is an issue there. The size of the government needs to expand. After all, we need many parts of the country. We still need more teachers, except in sort of rare places like Kerala, where say school teachers are redundant. I mean, in the sense they have had a surplus school teachers because their population has shrunk with those going to school. But teachers and doctors are clearly where we have to expand, but we have not been able to expand government there to the extent it is needed, or even say the police force for law and order to the extent that it is needed because of constraint of resources. So we have to increase our resources. So anyway, I think I'll close now and leave it for any questions, which, or rather, any discussions that we'll have. Just question and answer. I would love a discussion on anything that you like. Thank you again for having me. I'm honored to be amongst all of you today.
Thank you so much, sir, for this insightful session and covering the major points of the budget in so much a short duration of time. I request any of the students and faculty members to ask any question. You?
Good afternoon, sir. This is Jamila.
Can I just see the person who's asking? Okay. No. It's all right if I don't want to cause any inconvenience. Oh, lovely. Yes, I can see you.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, as students, we are seeing many new initiatives that are coming up in budget in relation to training hubs and institutions.
Sorry. I please. It's not very clear. थोड़ा और क्लियर हो सकता है प्लीज वहाँ जो टेक्निकल जो लोग हैं उनसे पूछिए जरा सुनाई नहीं दे रहा हाँ प्लीज कैरी ऑन
Sir, I was asking that as students, we are seeing many new initiatives in the budget coming up in relation to training hubs and institutions and skill development programs. But as students belonging from non-metro cities or small districts, how can we practically take the benefits of these initiatives? How can we benefit from them?
Okay. So I think this is a real a problem that you have posed, and it's a practical one. I think one is technology. The way we are conversing today, I am able to see you, you are able to see me, we are actually be able to converse. So some of the imparting of skills will take place through technology. But yes, not all of it can be done. And for that, then there has to be scheme of both the government and the non-government agencies in providing additional resources for those who are in the smaller towns to be able to move to places where they have access to such resources. And you know, in India, it's not just the government which provides this. We have a lot of now philanthropic initiatives also. For example, you may have heard of the Azim Premji Trust. The Azim Premji Foundation is providing scholarship to all girls who clear class 10 or class 12 from government institutions, that means government schools. In some states, even I believe for aided schools. And they are paying 30,000 a month to such students to enable them to pursue higher education. This I'm just giving as an example. But there are resources. Now, how your exact need and how that gets matched with the resource, that is a question of detail. I will be, if you yourself, if you have an issue, through Dr. Das, who has been coordinating with me. Please let me know what sort of training you are looking to, and I will try to look around and match that for you. Certainly, I will.
Thank you so much, sir. This is going to help us a lot. Thank you for your guidance.
Any other question from the students?
Very good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much for your useful insights about the budget of 2026 financial year. So my question for this budget is, what are the major policies adopted in the budget for middle and lower middle classes, as the previous financial budget which was presented, it had many flaws and a huge debate was sparked all over the economy that this budget is not supporting the middle class and lower middle class. So kindly please provide me with the initiatives what this budget is for the middle class and lower middle classes.
See, you are right that there is a perception that the middle class and lower middle classes are not. I mean, they have not been getting as much of the benefits as they should. Now, if you look directly at what this budget gives, there is a section on what the finance minister called the ease of living, and under ease of living, there have been certain exemptions given. For example, if students have gone abroad on for education, or anyone going abroad for tourism, the tax collected at source, that the percentage of tax collected at source has been reduced from whatever 10% to it was 20% or 5% to 2%, things like that. There are some other things, especially those who give tax returns. For the elderly, you have to fill up only one form, and if someone has shares across or deposits across depositories, one depository will send that form 15H across to them. But I think that's not the real thing. A budget should lead to growth of the economy. अगर economy बढ़ता है, if the economy expands, that means economy expanding, and this budget, to the extent that it gives emphasis on capital expenditure, which of roads, of railways, and providing more money for capital expenditure, providing loans to the states for creation of capital assets, that helps the economy. Others is partly the budget, partly outside the budget. If the government promotes private enterprise, the startups are doing well in this country. That will create jobs, and ultimately the middle class, the lower middle class, they will and everyone else will benefit only when jobs are created. And for creation of jobs, and to enable those like all of you, the younger population, to get benefit of to make the maximum benefit of out of the growing economy, you have to be properly educated and skilled. And I think government has to perhaps even provide more than what it is doing for higher education. Skill training gets a lot of emphasis, but even just higher education does require. We have more emphasis. We have been emphasizing on primary education. The focus has now shifted to secondary education, because primary education enrollment has increased. Secondary, there is still a gap. And higher education, while there is good enrollment, it is still a whole lot of young people do not get to colleges and universities. They should get that opportunity. So I think the role of the budget, certainly some direct schemes, some direct benefits, yes. But more than that, it is to create an environment for the economy to grow. Because only when the economy grows, we are growing well, as I told you, at around 7%, 7.4%. But we need to grow at 8.5%, 9% in order if we have to fulfill all the aspirations that you are speaking of. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your useful insights. But sir, I have another pinch of curiosity that
Please.
if there will be only economic growth and only the richer sectors of the economy will grow, then won't it create economic instability or economic inequalities in the economy?
You are right. See, if the economy grows as a whole, then there is the concept that all boats, if the waters are rising, all boats will rise. Whether it's a big ship or a small boat, everyone will rise. But that is not always not enough. There, that is surely not enough. There is a whole because that is where the regulation and that's where states also play a big role. You see, we are talking about the budget and the states. Why is it in some states there is more growth than others? Every state now has to think about that. Yes, certainly there are some advantages. If you have a port, your state on the perhaps you have more advantages than a landlocked state like MP, which doesn't have a port. But the government has been improving logistics as a whole. It talks about even this budget talks about railways. It talks about high-speed rail. It talks about corridors. It talks about national highways. So that will give. It talks about better logistics in various forms. That gives an impetus to states like MP, which may not be have an access to the seas or the ocean to port, but it gives them better access to it now. At the same time, I still think we have a long way to go. Look at the southern states. Look at Tamil Nadu. Today, more than 50% of women employed in manufacturing, 52% to be precise, are in one state, the state of Tamil Nadu. So obviously they have done something right to enable women to be employed in those numbers in that state. And other states have not. So, but it's a combination of education, skill, natural resources, infrastructure, proper policies, which promote women, which promote some cultural and social changes which are required in society, which will promote better growth with equality, what you are looking for.
Thank you so much, sir, for your useful information. Thank you very much for your dedicated time in this session. Thank you so much.
Any other questions?
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah.
As you mentioned earlier, a growth fund has been allotted to create champion MSMEs. So, what is the central idea behind it?
See, the fund is not much. Fund is 10,000 crores for over 5 years. That is why I told you about that comment that footnotes have become high notes in this budget. I think because the government did not have that sort of resources, so they have preferred to put a figure for 5 years. 10,000 for 5 years sounds much better than 2,000 crores for 1 year. But the idea is to facilitate. See, MSME they've also provided for fund for credit to MSMEs, and ultimately even I refer to that banking kshetra mein, that high level committee. What will they do? And idea is MSMEs to provide better credit flow. Now, one for MSMEs in particular, the flow of money is very important. If they have made a supply, they should get it on time. And government has created this it's called TREDS, TREDS. Now, in this budget, all public sector entities has been made compulsory for them to interact with MSMEs through trades. That means large corporations are now coming into trades through government regulation, which is a positive thing. And in this manner, MSME should be benefited. Now, how many champion MSMEs will be created, that is something only the future will tell us.
Thank you.
We'll come home.
A very good afternoon, sir. Sir, this is the other side. I just wanted to ask you that, as you said earlier, that Madhya Pradesh has came out as a Madhya Pradesh has came out. So, as you see, that Madhya Pradesh has came out as a loser. So, what are the consequences of it that will be faced, and what are the effects of it that we will see in our daily lives?
See, it is a competitive loser. When I say losers and gainers, it is competitive, and this is in the context of the Finance Commission award. So Madhya Pradesh, from what I understand, will lose as compared to what it got as share of taxes. Will lose out, say, to the tune of, says, about 7,000-8,000 crores. Now 7,000-8,000 crores, I think the Madhya Pradesh budget, it's quite a big one. It's not 4 lakh crores over that. So 8,000 crores, they should be able to adjust. But at the same time, it does cause a little bit of pain for those who have to deal with the budget and those who have to provide money. So somewhere some pain will be felt. It's not that it is entirely painless. I'm also told that the grants have increased by about 2,000 crores. So the net impact may be 6,000 crores instead of 8,000 crores. Although grants are for specific purposes. So I'm sure they will find a way around it. And it's, as I said, it's only for this for a 5-year period. Next 5 year, hopefully Madhya Pradesh will pick up. In the past, Madhya Pradesh has gained also. I was secretary in the 13th Finance Commission, and in that award, Madhya Pradesh gained by almost 50 basis points, much as what is lost this time. So I don't think you need to worry about what it will impact your daily lives. No, it is not of the impact of that sort.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the guidance.
So now Honorable Vice Chancellor has some questions.
Good afternoon, sir. This is Dr. Rajiv Thakur. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, thank you.
While the customary vote of thanks is yet to come, but I should not resist myself in extending my heartfelt thanks on behalf of the students, the faculty, and of course, we are really fortunate that Honorable Chancellor introduced you to us. And in fact, thank you very much for your address, which I think, contrary to the very often heard high notes, is the order of the day today. So, contrary to that, right from defining the budget as annual financial statement, and in fact, literally as a true economist and a policy maker, you explained us budget as a true financial statement. Otherwise, today the audience, the Janta, we students, we are caught around the high notes only. But fundamentally, we really don't understand that these lofty plans, lofty slogans, and the kind of schemes that you explained, though it is a 360-degree scheme for the textile sector as an example you quoted, but behind that scheme, whether we have the robust revenues and resources, that is something not very, very clear. But I think you not only theoretically have helped us to understand the theories. In fact, just to tell tell about an hour before conversation between me and Honorable Chancellor Sir. He was inquiring, आपने तो HODs को इतने को बुला लिया है सभी को और जो कि different streams से हैं, तो क्या वो लाभार्थी होंगे, वो समझ पाएंगे कुछ या उनके लिए उनको लाना जरूरी है? तो मुझे जो थोड़ी समझ है, मैंने सोचा नहीं सर आएंगे, थोड़ा समझना तो है, सबको इकोनॉमी और फाइनेंस को समझ में आना चाहिए। और मुझे लगता है कि आपने जिस तरह से एक्सप्लेन किया है, आम जो यहाँ पे बैठे हो कुछ और न भी समझते हो तो उनको इतना तो जरूर समझ में आया होगा कि खर्चा के लिए पैसा चाहिए, और अगर खर्चा हम ज्यादा करेंगे तो कहीं से बाकी जगह से रेवेन्यू आना होगा, और वो रेवेन्यू सरकार के पास तो फिस्कल डेफिसिट है, लेकिन यहाँ पे हो सकता है बैंक से लोन लीजिएगा या हो सकता है अपने अग्रजों को, अपने पिता को, अपने पेरेंट्स को देखिएगा। तो आई थिंक बहुत सारे न्यूएंसेस आपने एक्सप्लेन किया, यू हैव एक्सप्लेन टू इट, and we are really glad that students also have come forward and spoken about it. Now one question sir, and especially you have been in the helps of the affairs, and of course honestly speaking sir, after a long time I being myself economics student, सुखभाई चक्रवर्ती, एसपी गुप्ता जी और सभी लोगों को जो सुनते थे, आज पहली बार लगा कि बहुत दिनों के बाद एक उस तरह का एक स्टेप फॉर लेक्चर आपने बड़ा बारीकियों के साथ फिस्कल पॉलिसी भी समझाया, प्लानिंग भी समझाया, डेवलपमेंट भी समझाया, तो उसके लिए धन्यवाद। नाउ माय क्वेश्चन इज सर कि आपने यू स्टार्टेड विद एन एनोटेट एट व्हिच हाइलाइटेड अ very critical thing is trust, and today I think that's on the premium, and trust deficit, and your title of this particular and the focus was this the budget and the states, and I think of late year after year there is a high level of trust deficit which can be seen between the central government and the state governments. I mean, maybe the same government, the same regime at the center, and the center they may not be so outspoken, but the opposition governments in the state definitely they come out, and of course there are regional grievances also. So, in the budget making process, how do you think the things have changed over a period of time? Of course, today the budget making has benefited out of technology, data sciences, analysis, and so on and so forth. But that human element of sitting together, taking people on board, and in fact, I heard that someone complaining that there is no planning commission today where states are being heard and they are being planned, and that used to contribute to the budget making a lot. So how do you see this trust deficit which is happening, and in fact, not only amongst the political circle, because of this particular the news making, sloganeering, and the big claims, even the Janta is not trusting and believing what the government is announcing. So, your comments on this, sir. Thank you.
That is a very interesting question and a very serious issue before us, I think. Yes, I think without trust, and it's a very simple word, but without trust, as a federation, we are a federation. Whether we are a true federation, we are not a true federation, we are a federation with a strong center, we can debate all that. But we are a federation, and a trust is required between the union and the states, and also amongst the states. And why stop at the states? States and the local bodies. We have a structure of local bodies. Do we always have trust between the states and the local bodies? I don't think so. States, just as there is sometimes the center acts as a bully, the state governments also bully local governments. So this is required. Definitely trust is required. Without trust, no scheme can succeed. Look at centrally sponsored schemes. They are needed because sometimes it is argued that why should central government take up such schemes? They are for the states. Only the state should know better. it is true. States may know better, may feel the pulse of the people better, but central schemes are required. And central schemes are one manner where these schemes, these initiatives of the states are taken around the country. Let us take two examples, one out of Madhya Pradesh and one out of Tamil Nadu. Both related to a sector I am fond of, which is education. I was Joint Secretary Education for 5 years. In Madhya Pradesh, we experimented with a scheme called the Education Guarantee Scheme. One can find 1,000 flaws in that scheme. But the idea was, because we are not able to provide a primary school where it is needed, let us at least provide one teacher or two teachers and start giving education to younger children, say at least till class 3 level. I think the government of India adopted it as a whole. I was then in charge of Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. We had launched Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, and we took a decision that this will become a part of the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. Not only that, I recall going to my minister, who was Dr. Murli Manohar Joshi at that point of time, and telling him that, because we were even adopting the name of the scheme as Education Guarantee Scheme. I said, sir, are you okay with this? He said, why not? And you'll recall that AGS was a Congress scheme. Then we had a Congress government in MP, and so the government was different. But it's a good scheme, taken up all over. Now, whether, as I said, there was a lot of criticism about EGS. It didn't fulfill all needs. True, but at that point of time, it fulfilled some need, and it went across the country. Look at the midday meal program, which was nurtured in Tamil Nadu. But if we did not have a central scheme, it may still have traveled to all states, but it would have taken much longer. So, and you know, the midday meal scheme is perhaps the best scheme of the government, because what it does for nutrition levels of children, I think no other scheme. If today, if I used to bet on one scheme which just requires, it is the midday meal scheme which is required. So, and all this emanates out of trust. I think you also asked about the Planning Commission, wasn't it? Planning Commission?
Yes.
Yes. I personally, I served in the government when the Planning Commission was there. I retired in 2014. All along, we have had the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission did act as a bridge between the central government and the states. There is no doubt about it. Every year, we used to go for planning discussions. And before the discussions began in the Planning Commission, the Chief Minister, along with a few senior officials, maybe the Chief Secretary, Finance Secretary, go to meet the Deputy Chairman Planning Commission. The Deputy Chairman Planning Commission, Planning Commission gave grants under an article called 282 of the Constitution. 282 is an article which perhaps exemplifies what the Constitution felt was required for a federation. It allows the central government to give funds to the states even when they do not have the legislative power in that subject. And it allows one state to give money to another state, where obviously they do not have legislative functions. So if there is a tsunami somewhere, one state is able to give funds to that state. If there's an earthquake in Gujarat, others stepped in. If in Odisha faced cyclones, other states could fail in. It's a great article to cement our federation. Article 282 and funding under that. So under 282, the Planning Commission also gave some grants. The Deputy Chairman of the Planning Commission had those days a few thousand crores. So Chief Minister goes, oh, I don't have funds, and he used to come out with 400-500 crores from that kitty, sometimes 300 crores, 400, 500 crores. But the amount was small, but it acted like a balm, something to soothe the spirits. And build up trust. I think that role of the planning commission is currently missing. The Niti Ayog, for all the good things they are doing, I think this part is missing. This part, the finance ministry also doesn't play this role. So we have a missing piece there, according to me.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for this thoughtful discussion. Now I request Dr. Sadanand Prusty, sir, Dean of Academic Affairs, to give a vote of thanks.
Honorable Chancellor, sir, eminent speaker, and respected Shri Sumit Bose ji, Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, all the directors, principals, HODs, faculty colleagues, and dear students. Good afternoon to all of you. It's a very good afternoon. This is because Shri Sumit Bose ji has made it like was so excellent, and each of these concepts he has explained so nicely that all our students, including the faculty colleagues, those who are not having the background of this economics or about the budget, I think I'm sure that they might have got some idea about this budget, Union Budget 2026. I will just highlight few things. What sir you have mentioned. First of all, you have defined this budget, that where it is actually started with the financial statement, then how actually it is a proposed expenditure or proposed revenue, where actually is money is coming from, and where actually the government is spending on which accounts. That also you have narrated. Okay, to start with this, with the fiscal discipline, economic growth, all these things which clearly mentions about the three kartavyas which has mentioned in the Union Budget 2026. The first one you have mentioned nicely about the sustainable growth. Okay, which not only that growth, even if one of our student, Mr. Nawan, asked about this question, how actually this will be calculated, this growth process to the middle class or the lower middle class people. It is very simple because already because our government's objective, the third like your pratigya or the government has taken the initiative, that was the sabke saath sabke vikas, and also all the aspirations of the people that has to be fulfilled, and all these measures also government of India has taken. And one of these things are which you have mentioned, that is rightly you have pointed it out, the revenue deficit. On that basis, if the state governments they are getting the funds from the central government, and scrapping of this is a very good initiative by this government, in my opinion, because many of the state governments, what they are doing because of the populist measure, that 1,000 or 2,000 to the like your ladies, okay, they are just providing this debt relief to the farmers, whatever they are providing. Now, because of this, state government fiscal deficit is mounting up, and also it is leading to severe consequence. So, central government did a very good thing, that scrapping of this revenue deficit as a measure to get the special assistance from the central government. So, that is a very good measure which I think in this budget it has started. And also you have mentioned very clearly that 41 lakh, that 41% of the central government taxes that will be coming to the state governments in a 5 years, 2026 to 2031. So that period is also like your it will give sufficient funds to the state governments to think about their plan and the process, and many things also you have mentioned. I am not going into the detail because time is very short. And on behalf of the entire family members of Mandsaur University and on my personal behalf, I am thanking you, sir, for accepting our invitation and addressing to our
students, faculty members, okay, and all these like your participants who are present here. Sir, may I request the audience to give a huge round of applause.
Thank you.
Also, I would like to thank our Honorable Chancellor Sir and Vice Chancellor Sir, who is having only one motto, how to change this university by inviting excellent speakers, okay, where actually our students and faculty members will get an interaction, and also they will be getting a better academic knowledge, enhancement of their knowledge. So thank you, sir. Okay, so much for your initiative. And last, I would like to thank all these directors, principals, HODs, faculty members, and my dear students. Without your presence, this your expert lecture might not be possible. Okay, so hence, thank you so much, friends. And if I have forgotten anyone's name or anything, please, forgive me. Thank you so much.